Welcome back to Nuclear News. We've been covering the nuclear energy megatrend for years, and it's playing out like clockwork. Just this last week, the global ex-uranium ETF is up 6.94%, right? The S&P 500 is only up 1.6%. So uranium stocks massively outperforming. Now, many people will disagree with me and say your thesis isn't playing out because we haven't seen life-changing returns in these uranium miners. Why is that? Well, as many of you know, we're in a multi-decade supply crunch, but we've had to chew through these above ground inventories. That's why nuclear energy utilities aren't contracting massively, right? They're not scrambling to acquire uranium because there's plenty of commercial inventory. So let's take a look at commercial inventory supply, right? This comes from UXC, right? And so what we can see is 2024 is actually the last year of massive commercial inventories. The yellow bars are commercial inventories, right? So after 2024, commercial inventories drop like a rock, right? And there's nowhere near enough above ground uranium to meet the growing demand, right? And what we've seen recently, we've seen production cuts from Paladin, we've seen NextGen Energy talk about their rising costs, and we've seen uranium miners across the board talking about the massive increase in costs, right? We're in an inflationary environment. Everything's getting more expensive. So in 2025, commercial inventories drop like a brick, and that's going to cause a massive contracting cycle by utilities, right? So that doesn't even talk about the massive booming fundamentals ahead of us. That's just supply-demand fundamentals of the existing nuclear industry. What about the future nuclear industry? Well, how Trump's second presidency could fuel nuclear energy and uranium demand. The president-elect's pick for energy secretary hints at his plans for nuclear power. Trump's nomination of Christopher Wright, the founder and chief executive of oil field services company Liberty Energy, as U.S. Secretary, not only furthers his support for fossil fuels, but for nuclear energy as well. Wright is also on the board of directors of Oklo Inc., a maker of nuclear fission reactors that also recycles used uranium from other plants. Shares of Liberty Energy and Oklo both closed higher, right? So his energy secretary is insanely bullish on small modular reactors, right? They're going to do what they can to make small modular reactors proliferate around the world, right? That's going to spike the demand for nuclear even more. And again, going back to this chart, there isn't enough above ground. Commercial inventories falling like a brick. Okay, so what moved uranium prices this week? Russia places a tit-for-tat ban on U.S. uranium exports. Russia has announced restrictions on exports of enriched uranium to the USA. The temporary ban is in response to U.S. restrictions on imports from Russian uranium products, which came into force earlier this year. Why is that a big deal? Because U.S. nuclear reactors still depend on Russia. That's becoming a problem. There's already a massive supply crunch in uranium heading into 2025. This is just compounding it. There's less and less available. So the bifurcation of the uranium market accelerated this week. Russia bans EUP, enriched uranium, to the US, and may already be diverting to India, Iran, and China. Kazakhs diverted massive supply to China. U.S. looks to ramp up conversion with Convertin, and there's production issues in the Western U308 supply, which we've been covering, right? So that summarizes the constrained supply of uranium in the West. So that's what moved the uranium price higher this week, and uranium miners as well. But looking into the future, what do we have to look forward to? 25 countries in the EU launched call to action for no new coal in national climate plans, right? 25 of the most powerful countries on the planet trying to ban coal in all climate plans. There's only one solution. It's nuclear. Hats off to Texas, where X Energy Nuclear and Dow will build one of the nation's first Gen 4 nuclear projects with help from the Department of Energy ARDP program. Great to see a state take the lead on new nuclear deployments. Another aspect of the Trump administration is a massive cut in regulations and bureaucracy. So that's going to unleash the floodgates for more and more of these massive nuclear plants. Obviously, very positive that Texas is building one of the first Gen 4 nuclear plants. Small modular reactors coming to Virginia, says Appalachian Power, right? Again, expanding around the world. Ukraine, U.S. to partner on developing small modular nuclear reactors for reconstruction, right? This is the future of energy. Western groups step up efforts to win nuclear contracts in Eastern Europe. Senior executive at Atkins Realis says region ripe for business as it struggles to hit EU net zero targets. Again, everyone's moving to nuclear. This is the longer term picture, just accelerating the supply crunch in the fuel that's going to power the future. Still early, so much going on. Let's stay on top of it.